So how it works, let's say packet forwarding works like a serial link. When you configure VPN tunnel, normally so this is a R1 and R2. In here you have this serial connections. These serial connections can be converted to tunnel. This is the tunnel connections, where you have tunnel 0, tunnel 1, etc. So this is a tunnel. When you send the traffic will go through the tunnel and then go to destinations. Now let's say how it works. So when you configure, when you have this kind of topology, let's say Sydney, you have a router, and Melbourne, you have another router. But Sydney to Melbourne, in between, you have many different hubs, right? So when you send normal traffic, it will go via all the hubs to destinations. But when you configure tunnel, your source will be Sydney router and destinations will be direct to Melbourne router. In between all the hub, it will be kind of hidden. So when you configure VPN tunnel, so what we do, basically we hide all the informations and then we send traffic from one source router to destinations router. In the middle, everything is still there, because if something happened with other router, your VPN will not work. But when you send the traffic will be kind of encrypted format. So it will go from source to destinations. Right? So from router 1, all the way we send the traffic to router 3. So in the middle, you may have many other router, but all of the informations will be hidden. So when you send the tunnel means from source, traffic will go from source, it will go to destinations at the end of the tunnel. But physically they're going via all the link, but logically you'll see from Sydney router, next stop is Melbourne router. Correct. So in how to configure that, let's say we have router 1, we can say interface tunnel 1 and interface tunnel 1. So we're going to configure a virtual interface called tunnel 1. And then for that tunnel, we need to have a new IP address, a new subnet, tunnel subnet, which is 192.168.3.1. You can put any private address range over there. After that, you say tunnel source. Tunnel source will be always your source router outgoing interface. And tunnel destinations will be always next hop destinations router, their IP address, public IP address. In this way, you configure the tunnel. Same thing with the other side, router 3, interface tunnel 1, you need to have an IP address and mask. Then tunnel source gig 0/1 and tunnel destinations 11.1.1.1. Right? That's pretty much it. And usually it works very simple way. Majority of the business grade device, they have this site-to-site VPN capability. So you can configure one office to another office. You can simply configure. Yes, once you configure tunnel, then after that, you just need to configure the IPsec. Some protocol need to enable, and then it will be encrypted. It's actually simple. Yeah. And majority of the business grade router, they support this one. So in our context, let's say if I go to my PC, I can ping to my destination's PC. But if I do traceroute 192.168.20.1, then we can see how traffic is traveling. Is at first router 1, then router 2, then router 3, and then destinations IP address, right? So all the hop in this way traffic is traveling. But let's say in our context, we have Sydney router. So Sydney router, we have, let's say this is Sydney router, okay? And this side, this router is Melbourne router. Now Sydney to Melbourne, we'd like to send traffic directly. So this kind of scenario, we need to configure VPN tunnel. So we're going to configure VPN tunnel, let's say tunnel 1, and you're going to assign IP address 192.168.3.1. And then we're going to configure tunnel other side. You can put tunnel 1 or 2. Oops, 30, it should be 3. I mean, 30 will not make any issues. Yeah. So tunnel number, you can put any number like tunnel 1, tunnel 2, tunnel 3. It's all same. And this is the tunnel IP address. Now I'll go to my router 1 and say enable config T interface tunnel 1 IP address 192.168.3.1 255.255.255.0. That's my tunnel IP address. And then tunnel source gig 0/1. Tunnel source is gig 0/1, and tunnel destinations will be destinations router public IP address, which is 12.1.1.3, which is this one, 12.1.1.3. Now you can see tunnel is up. Right? After that, all good. So let's complete this one. Then I'll go to router 3. Okay, I'll go to router 3 now. Router 3, I'll say enable config T interface tunnel 1 and IP address. This one will be 192.168.3.2 255.255.255.0, and then tunnel source. Tunnel source is gig 0/1. Tunnel destination. Tunnel source is gig 01. Tunnel destinations will be 11.1.1.1. Right? And you can see the notice that is saying that notifications tunnel is up. Right? Now you can see we have two interfaces. In router 3, let's check it. Router 3, show IP interface brief. If I do show IP interface brief, I can see yes, this tunnel source and tunnel destination. So you can see the tunnel is up. Tunnel has IP address, right? Now router 3 and router 1, we have two interfaces. One is gig 01 and another one is tunnel 1. Two interface we have. So two interface, with that we can send out the traffic. So you can verify with show command. and you can check that whether it's up or down. All good. After that, now when you try to send the traffic, still our ping is working. But now we have two interfaces. One is tunnel interface, one is outgoing interface. So which way traffic is going? If we do traceroute, you can see traffic is still going via same path. So what we have to do, we need to redirect the traffic via tunnel. And because it has two interfaces, tunnel gig 01 and tunnel 1. So both way it can send the traffic. So which way it will send, we can configure that. So how to direct? We can configure static route. If we configure static route, we can redirect and say like which way traffic should go. Okay. So I'll go to my router 1 and saying IP route destinations network, which is 20.0 mask. That means I'd like to send traffic to destinations network 20.0 via my tunnel interface, which is 192.168.3.2. Okay. And same thing with the router 3. Router 3, I'll do config T, IP route. I want to send traffic 192.168.10.0, then 255.255.255.0 via next hop IP address, which is next hop tunnel interface, which is 192.168.3.1. Once you do that, now we have static route and OSPF. So traffic will go via this static route. All good. Once you configure everything, then we can check. We'll go to our PC, and now if we do ping, now it is kind of like check the new routing table, and it will send traffic via static route. It's working. After that, if I do traceroute, now traceroute is saying that is going via 10.10, which is your internal gateway. After that, next hop is 3.2, which is the tunnel, and go to 20.1. That's your destinations network. So basically, we call this one overlay network. So tunnel is kind of overlay network. This is kind of like overlay network, this tunnel. And underlay network is that we call it that underlay network is the other one that is called router 1, router 2, router 3, right? Yeah, underlay means all underlying network. Basically, all router 1, router 2, router 3. You may have all the way many different hops. But overlay network is just from router 1 to router 2, just tunnel interface. Just the tunnel is the overlay network. So in this way, this site-to-site VPN function.